Howdy Daydreamer, and welcome back to Dakota Daydreams. This week we're returning to the Bedside Garden for episode 16. And this week, let's get straight into the garden. Two of the Ailsae onions are still growing strong. It seems like the one that accidentally got trimmed against the edge of the pot while I was turning it is even growing better than the one that is still holding the whole stem. The thyme is growing and the figs are still kind of showing signs of changing. Slowly, but they're going. And this marigold is even opening a second flower already. And the mango melon is going strong in the soil down there. So it's time to do a little bit of reorganizing in the hydroponics. One of the Cherokee purple tomato seeds has rooted, and it rooted very long, very quickly. So I'm gonna make a special little deep hole through the sponge for it and try to thread the root through and maybe help it root to the sponge. Okay, so that was very fiddly, but I was able to kind of guide the root through so I could get it further down into the indentation in the seed sponge. Loaded the seed cannon. And then there's a second Cherokee purple tomato seed with a pretty impressive root on it. So I'm going to try to do the same thing. I got a little bit too excited and I don't think I punctured the sponge deeply enough with the toothpick that time because the root snapped pretty much immediately, but it was very early and these are heirloom seeds, so I'm just going to drop it in there and give it a chance and see what happens. Which brings the hydroponics table to two Cherokee purple tomatoes, one that I think has a great chance and one that I'm hoping has a better chance than I think right now. Three of the lettuces that are tall enough to be up over the sponge level, all of which look totally different from each other, which would be amazing if all three are different varieties. One Swiss chard that has neither figured out the concept of up nor done anything icky, and about a half dozen lettuces that haven't come up over the soil level yet, but I see a little bit of green down at the bottom, so I'm hoping they just need a little bit more time and they'll come up. I'll be as patient as I need to with them, unless they start showing signs of anything icky that could affect the other plants. And after tending the garden a little bit, I went to check the mail, and I'd received my Hami melon seeds from Miss Gail at Georgia Peachnut Garden. Link in the description. She's so fun to listen to while she's working on her gardening. And I really appreciate the seeds. Thank you so much. For now, I'm gonna put them away until the mango melon gets big enough to up pot, and then I'll start one in soil, and I might try to start one in hydroponics, but we'll see. It does seem like the watermelon is doing a little bit decently in the hydroponics so far. It has a little bit of green starting to show up there by the seed and the sponge. April 1st, and it is a beautiful day in the garden. The mango melon is growing, and the fig sticks are all doing their thing, showing some green on them, so I know they're still here. The thyme definitely appears to be thriving down there, I think. And the marigold is even opening a second flower and holding the first pretty well. So I'm really excited to see how many flowers it gets itself up to. All of the seedlings are doing their thing, and it seems like the passion flower is even starting to do something in there. It's making that clear gel-like stuff in the water again, and I'm hoping it'll do that and make a root by itself instead of getting stuck to the other seed, because it's alone this time. And this watermelon seed just got promoted to an experiment for the Watermelon Wars 2025, hosted by Broke Farmer. If it roots to the sponge, I might give it a try. Now, I think it's a great time for Catalog of the Week. April Fools, you thought it was going to be a seed catalog. This week, it's Murray McMurray Hatchery. They open up to a very detailed table of contents, so you can even pick what egg color you're wanting for the section you want to flip to. And then we have a letter from one of the co-founders about how he used to spend his Saturdays going to his grandma's to mow and get a cookie and dunk it in his coffee, and how that taught him to keep hold of the good memories even in difficult times. Because we can use the strength and positivity in those good memories to build better times in our futures. And their first chicken happens to be one of my top favorites from when I was a kid on a farm, the Americana. Now, the one I grew up with, she laid like a light mint green eggs, but her babies were all over the rainbow, and they were mixed with black Australorps, quite possibly my favorite chicken ever, just because I've personally witnessed them to keep laying in some of the hottest summers and coldest winters I've lived through. And then also, they're very great maternal chickens if that specific chicken knows what it's doing. Every chicken's a little confused the first time, I feel like, but usually if they'd get a little bit of help and support from the farmer, they'd figure it out pretty quickly compared to some of the other chickens I've interacted with. And while I was flipping through the catalog, I found this section about a podcast called Coffee with the Chicken Ladies that I actually found on YouTube, and I'm going to be checking out. Murray McMurray Hatchery also has many different assortments available, including straight run or unsexed baby chickens, or layer assortments, which are all female. They even have Egyptian Fuyomis, which is a very interesting breed that I've been curious about for a long time, but never actually had the chance to work with. I think they would add a bit of heat tolerance if you added like a few hens to a flock and like let it breed down for a few generations. That's my theory. And then there was a whole page about Apricot Lane Farms, which appears to be another farm that is on YouTube, and I will be trying to check them out as well, see what they're up to and doing. And they even shared a recipe with us for pickled deviled eggs with crispy chicken skin, which sounds really interesting. I've never tried a pickled deviled egg before, but I might have to try this recipe when I can get all of the ingredients together. And then whelp summers, I just think are a really pretty example of a chicken. This is pretty much what pops into my head when I just imagine a chicken, for the rooster and the hen, and even the biddy. And McMurray Hatchery starts their Bantam section with the uncles, and this porcelain Belgian bearded uncle, I think I'm saying that right, I'm not sure, but it looks so beautiful. And if I could get just one rooster of this for a flock, because I personally think roosters are supposed to be smaller than the hens. I don't like what roosters that are bigger than hens do to hens. So I think when I do get the chance to start up a chicken flock, I'm gonna try to get a Bantam rooster to start with and see how it goes. But Murray McMurray Hatchery does not just hatch the chickens. They also have many other birds, including Cayuga ducks. These ducks are so beautiful in the sunlight. Like, their pictures kind of catch it, but not really, because when they get into the sun, they're fully iridescent ducks, especially the drakes. They look like an active oil spill on a duck, but it's just how dark their feathers are, and then it reflects back basically the whole rainbow. And then there's the roan duck, which I might be a little bit biased towards, I'll admit. They were the first ducks I ever worked with, and they're honestly excellent layers. Like, no one actually mentions that when they're talking about them. Maybe it was the specific ones I had as a kid. I don't know. But I know that there would be duck eggs basically all the time, and they are great for baking with. And then there are Swedish ducks, which I am very curious about, not only for the adult duck colorations, but because allegedly their eggs have occasional blue or gray tints, and I'm kind of hoping that I could maybe get a consistent colored egg-laying duck. And I've been flipping through Murray McMurray Hatchery catalogs since I was a kid, and every time I see this curly goose and this Toulouse, and I think if I just cross those, I would have a curly and colorful goose. And I had some Toulouses when I was a kid too, and they're also quite good egg layers most of the year. They did not like to lay in winter, but that's okay. They also have a very wide selection of heritage turkeys. Now, I definitely prefer heritage turkeys to hybrid turkeys because, in my experience, the heritage turkeys generally have the sense to get out of the rain. Hybrid turkeys that I have personally worked with in my life would stand in the rain and look up. They even have assorted peafowls of so many different colors. I don't even know what to do with a peafowl, but they look gorgeous, and I might try to find a job for them on my future farm. And among the game birds, they have a melanistic mutant pheasant that looks like it may have an iridescence to its feathers from the picture, and I think they look really cool. Again, don't know what to do with pheasants, but they might have a job on my future farm too. And since I was a kid on a farm, they've even added the Quarternix quail to their mix of birds. And they have a variety of ways to get them. You can get basically a pre-sexed flock with 2 males and 8 females, or mix. And with the mixed packs, they even have the Celadon, which is the blue egg laying quails. They even have a few exotic duck breeds, and honestly, I'm really interested in wood ducks because I feel like they would do really well on like a small pond aviary type system. But Murray McMurray Hatchery also offers you the opportunity to hatch your own eggs because maybe you don't want to ship the babies, you just want to hatch them where you're at and raise them out. And that's probably what I would do when I got Quarternix quail, just because of how quickly they grow up and how small they are when they hatch. They have to be 3 weeks old to be shipped, and they're already halfway grown at that point. So I would want to hatch them so I could raise them for those 3 weeks and teach them. And they offer every type of supply I can really think of right now that I would need to get started, including the model of incubator I actually got started on long, long ago as the kid on the farm. That little white styrofoam box right there. There was even a full page about the marketplace at McMurray Hatchery, which is an app they've started for farmers and homesteaders to share their eggs with their community and for their community to find local eggs. It's very interesting, and I'm definitely going to be checking it out to see how active it is in this area. And then they have every supply you would need to make your eggs look nice, including egg stamps, egg carton stamps, and the cartons themselves. They also have this really cute egg scale, but it says it's not for use in weighing eggs for trade, which makes me wonder, what is it for use for then? Fun? Looks fun. I would have fun with it. And the last few pages of the catalog are instructions and articles on what to do if and how to raise baby chicks. There's even a quick reference guide for what to feed or how to adjust an environment for different forms of baby poultries. And then in the very back are hatching season details and the order form. And now it's time to head back to the garden. But if you'd like to grab your own copy of the Murray McMurray Hatchery catalog after the episode, check the description down below. I guess this seed heard me when I said that it was now an experiment, because I was cleaning my room and I looked over and it had gone for some type of snow day with stuff all over it. And I can't risk that affecting the other plants, so I had to pull it. But while I had the sponge in one hand, I pulled the seed out with the other, and it did root to that sponge. So technically, the experiment was a success, and then resolved itself so that I could start my challenge. It also looks like the Cherokee purple tomato that had snapped is in fact continuing to root in the sponge, so it might be okay. But this lettuce back here is starting to develop some really weird looking fuzz, so I'm gonna give it a few drops of hydrogen peroxide and see what happens. And the marigold's starting to get so bushy that some of the leaves get pushed onto the dirt and start breaking down. So when I notice them, I just kind of snap them off and put them into the dirt so they can break down and go back up into the plant. And then I went to Walmart and got some stuff for the garden, including some large leaf garden sorrel and a 50-cent packet of lemon cucumbers that was hidden in the aisles of the garden section, not the big seed display on the end cap displays of seeds. And then I started exploring between the aisles and the different little buckets of seeds at the end. Well, racks, not buckets, but same difference. And then I found purple tomatillos. Again, 50 cents. So I kept looking. And then I found this culinary blend of tomatoes. Again, 50 cents. So I figured, hey, let me grab this and then go get everything I came into the store for before I forget all of it. I didn't even flip it over to see what was in it until I got home. Y'all, how does this pack have tigerella, flame orange, yellow pear, green zebra, San Marzano, black creme, and Costulio Genovese? That is 7 different kinds of tomato. Tigerella, yellow pear, and black creme? I didn't even hear of until I was watching other YouTubers garden. So I think it's crazy that I just found all of those in a 50-cent pack of tomato seeds. And now it's going to be a really interesting surprise to see which one's growing, but also kind of easy to tell because most of them are entirely different colors. And while we were there, I also picked up a phone clip thing. It's not quite a tripod, but it has a ring light on it and a phone clip on the same device. And the ring light plugs up by USB port. And I'm going to test it for a little while, and then I'll tell y'all more about it behind the scenes. Even just using the light, I feel like it's easier to actually see like how much of the root is up over the sponge level, but it's still growing, it's still happy, and the sponge is carrying moisture all the way up there for it, so if the plant's good, I'm gonna let it be. This lettuce, however, has gotten a little bit past the point that I feel comfortable having it in the hydroponics, because I'm worried about all that nastiness spreading to something else. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. Now, this thing down here that the seeds fell on, that would be an insect trap for flying insects and that I'm testing to see if it works, and I'll tell you more about if it does. Because it's been too long to have been from the soil. I think it's just that it's summer-ish in a Carolina, so there's gonna be some gnats. And now that I have the phone clipped up, I think it's time to pull chard solo. It's produced 2 Swiss chards and 1 seed, I think, that didn't do anything, and I don't think it's gonna do any more at this point. Now, I think I'm gonna try this again in the future, but Imma wait a little bit. And now that the garden's cleaned up, it's time to start a new watermelon. And this time, Imma enter the watermelon wars because I think I can be the watermelon king. I'm sorry, bro. Um, you're over there enhancing dirt, but see, I'm skipping dirt entirely. I can feed the watermelon straight to its roots. And this seed right here said he's ready to win. Now, I know one of the rules is that you must trash talk, but I have no idea how to do that, so y'all bear with me. So it's gonna be rough at first, but I can learn anything if I try to. Now I'm gonna take this seed and water it, and then I'm gonna be patient and let it come all of the way out of the seed before I move it, because I know it'll root to the sponge now. All right, y'all take a good look at that. That right there, that's what the winning seed's gonna look like right there. Watermelon King, right here. We got this. And I was watering the potted plants after I did that, and I noticed one of these thyme has gotten so long that it actually wraps around itself trying to follow the light when I turn the pots. So I have to come mess with it and untwist it from itself. If it ever breaks while I'm doing this, I'm just gonna eat it at this point. And sometimes I still come through and just spritz the top layer of soil because I'll feel it and it's only the top that's super, super dry and the rest is still fine. So I'll just dampen the top for the seedlings a little bit and get the leaves some water to hold on to build the strength in the stem. Because I've noticed it's a combination of weight on the leaves from the water and the stem moving to track the light and having some kind of wind blowing about, so it has to wiggle. And these 2 flowers on the marigold are both still looking great. I'm honestly surprised the first one's lasting so long, and I really need to get in here and, like, check how much of this has more flowers in it. So that's what I'm gonna start with today. I'm gonna get into this plant and I'm gonna see how much of this bush actually has flowers on the ends of it and how much I can pull off maybe to thin it out some. But the more I'm actually going through it, the more I'm noticing everything seems to end in a flower, and it's absolutely covered in all kinds of stages of buds. There's some that look like they're about to open soon, and some that are just barely starting. So this is a small bush now. This is no longer just a flower or a little plant. This is a teeny tiny bush. It's a small potted bush. And I'm very proud of the little thing because I still don't know how it survived literally every rookie mistake in a row, all at once. But it's still going, and it's covered in flowers, so I think I might even get a harvest out of just this one plant. But I'm pulling off all the leaves that look like dried out on the ends, and then I have a plan for them. I'm just gonna tear them up and sprinkle them over the soil in the other pots and see if that helps maybe keep the gnats away from them a little bit. And it seems like both of the Ailsae onions have either gotten up to 2 leaves, or the thing I was calling a stem was actually both of the leaves stuck together and they're starting to separate. Either way, I do think when I up-pot these 2, I might start a few more, or I might have another plan for the other seeds. I'm not sure yet. I'm watching the weather for a little bit longer before I decide for sure either way. And this mango melon in the soil is doing amazing. I'm a little bit worried it might need to be fed soon, but I keep reminding myself it still has those seed leaves and they aren't drying up yet, so it's okay. It's not even eating from the soil that much yet. So, just trying to be patient with it and then let it grow. The long-rooted Cherokee purple tomato is starting to send roots out from the very top along the edge of the sponge, which I'm taking as a very good sign. And one of the lettuces is even showing its very first true leaf, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave the cap off of it this time, and hope that the rest of the lettuce is following close behind on it. And now it's time for the Flowers Everlasting Spotlight for hashtag Flowers Everlasting 2025. My challenge to everybody to capture a temporary flower and the memory that goes with it. And where I shout out those who have shared flowers and why those flowers were important to them that I've seen in the last week. And this week, I saw daffodils shared by Mr. Shaun over at Shaun the Gardener, and they're his early morning, early spring flowers. And I thought they were really, really nice, and I really enjoy going through his garden with them, so I wanted to share. And thank you for dreaming with me. If you saw a challenge that you're interested in, check out my description for more details. You can also check my description for links to channels I've mentioned and channels that have helped me grow through my gardening journey. And if you'd like to see the journey from the beginning, check out the Bedside Garden playlist. If you'd like to check out all of the challenges that I'm watching and learning from and participating in, check out the Garden Challenge Rulebook. And until next time, take care of yourself and keep your head in the clouds.